Okay. This is a slide rule. That's right, some of you don't recognize it, but it is in fact a slide rule. Even better than that, this isn't just any old slide rule. This is my slide rule. This was the slide rule I was required to buy in 1971 as an incoming freshman at the University of Nebraska. I will now pause while you calculate my age. Now, I often take my slide rule class, and I show the students the amazing calculating power of this simple device. And they're always amazed, always. Invariably, one of the students will raise their hand and ask the question, why did the University of Nebraska force you to buy something like that? The answer? Hand calculators hadn't been invented yet. That's absolutely a true statement. And when I make the statement, the look on their face is priceless, right? Their eyes get big, and the jaw drops open a little bit, and you can actually hear them think, wow, that guy's older than dirt. Well, I'm not older than dirt, as you've already calculated. The first handheld calculator came out in the United States in 1972, the iconic Hewlett-Packard 35, HP 35. Some of you are nodding your head and remembering the calculator. Now, what a lot of people forget is in 1972, that hand calculator cost $395. $395 in 1972. That would be over $2,000 in today's money for a simple hand calculator. Well, in 1972, I couldn't afford that. No way I was going to afford something like that. The good news is the next year, a Japanese firm called Rockwell came out with a hand calculator that did pretty much the same things, but at less than half the cost. That I could afford, so I bought one. And that hand calculator changed my life. All of a sudden, I had enough time to calculate different paths towards the same solution. It took the amount of time it took me to do my homework, and it literally cut it in half. That transformed me as an engineering student. But I had to put that technology down and pick up that newfangled hand calculator. So, I see some young folks here. What I'd like the younger professionals to do is take out your cell phone. And if you just want to be a younger engineer, go ahead and take out your cell phone anyway. I'm serious. I want you to take out your cell phone and take a hard look at that. Here's what I want you to consider. That cell phone that you're looking at right now, when you get to be my age, that will be your slide rule. It's true. What you are looking at right now is your version of a slide rule. Now, the question then that develops is, what will that new technology look like when you're my age? Will the technology you're looking at now even exist? Will you be able to adapt to that new technology? That is the telling question that faces all of us. Everyone in this room has their own slide rule. Everyone in this room has had to adapt to changing technologies, changing processes, new equipment. Is the one thing that ties all of us together. We all have our own slide rule. We know that it's in the power of adapting that lives, organizations, and communities can be transformed. Our ability to shape tomorrow is formed by our willingness to adapt today. And that is the foundation of our theme for the year, adapt today to shape tomorrow. So, how are we going to do that? I mean, that's a very powerful statement that we have the ability to create our future. But how are we going to do that? I think we need to address 3 broad directives over the course of this year. Number 1, we're going to adapt ASHRAE resources to create the visionaries of tomorrow. That will have 3 initiatives associated with it. Initiative number 1, we're going to launch an ASHRAE University web portal. And in point of fact, we've got that done. I announced the launch of that in Las Vegas in January. You can now go to ASHRAE's e-learning website. And what we've done is we've taken all of ASHRAE's world-class educational products and put it in one place. And then put in a search engine so you can filter it by your things that interest you. So if you're looking for information on the medical field or on data centers, you can call up the courses that we have, the books that we have, webinars that we have, all the stuff that we have to help you learn about that particular topic. This was put together by Pub Ed Council, and so I want to thank those volunteers and staff that got that done as quickly as they did. Initiative number 2, we're going to implement some new courses, new endorsements, new certificates. First new course out of the box is going to be a course on consulting engineering essentials. Now, why that? Well, you may or may not know the single largest demographic in ASHRAE are consulting engineers. They comprise about 40% of our membership. But how do we draw young men and women into that important discipline? We think one of the ways we can do it is developing this Consulting Engineers Essential course. We are going to pattern it off of our very successful HVAC Essentials course. So we're going to have practicing professionals teamed up with world-class educators to teach the fundamentals of consulting engineering. This has been assigned to the Professional Development Committee. I know they're hard at work at it. We hope to have this class available for you to sign up for no later than June of this year. And then finally, number 3, we're going to implement an internship program. And more good news here, that's done. If you go to jobs.ashrae.org, you'll find that there's a new tab on our website just for interns. So what we're going to do here is ask our student branch members to upload their resumes. We're going to ask you employers out there to search through this when you have a position open for an intern. And this is how we're going to draw young men and women into our industry, by showing them the importance of our work, showing them why we're so passionate about what we do. And this internship program, by the way, we think is a win-win situation. Our research has shown that 95% of all employers are looking for real-world experience on a resume. Well, how's our students going to get that? They can get it through an internship. Moreover, we have found that 68% of the time, if an employer hires an intern, 68% of the time, they offer them a full-time position. And 85% of the time, that job offer is accepted. So, employers out there, how would you like to be in an environment where your job offer is accepted 85% of the time? I think that's why these internship programs are going to be so important. I think this is going to be a real difference maker in our society. I'm obviously a big fan of internships. I came out of an internship. I spent the first 19 years of my career as a mechanical contractor. I worked for our family firm, a small mechanical contracting firm in a very rural district of the United States. I come from Nebraska. And I will never forget my first day of work. I showed up at Wentz Plumbing and Heating, walked into my dad's office. By the way, that's a picture of my dad. My dad is now 92. And if you look closely, he is still conducting research on indoor air quality. He's not following it, but he is researching. So I walk into my dad's office. I got a brand new engineering degree under my arm, and I say, okay, Dad, what do you want me to do first? He didn't even look up. He said, I want you to get back in your car. I want you to drive 100 kilometers up to Omaha, Nebraska, and I want you to join the Nebraska chapter of ASHRAE. So here I am, standing in front of my dad. My dad isn't even going to look up. And I said, okay, Dad, I got two questions for you. Number one, what is ASHRAE? I've never heard of it. Number two, why would I join? Now, it's that second question that we sometimes struggle with. You know, we know the importance of our work, right? We know the passion we have for what we do, but sometimes we have trouble expressing it. My dad's answer, I thought, was right on target. He said, look, you go to an ASHRAE meeting, you walk into the room. In that room, you will find the engineers we work for. You will find the building owners we serve. You will find the vendors we buy from. And you will find our competitors. You need to be in the room. I think that's exactly right. So, how are we going to create a future for our society where you need to be in the room? Well, I think there are two paths there. One path is we need to make the room bigger. And we are working on that. And we've had some great successes here recently. One way we've made the room bigger is we've reached out to some other societies, like CYPRUS, which is our counterpart in the United Kingdom. I'm sure most of you have heard of CYPRUS. We had a 40-year relationship with them. And never once entered into any form of agreement with them or contract with them or anything like that. No MOUs, nothing. And so that relationship was never very optimal. We changed that. We went to London. We negotiated with them. We now have a strategic partnership agreement with CYPRUS, where we are going to join forces globally to provide educational products. We're going to work globally on research issues. We are going to work on some of those big items that plague all of us, like standardization of codes, harmonization of standards, climate change. These are the kind of issues we need to work together as a team. So this is one path that we're working on, and we've had some tremendous successes there. Here's the second path, and it's our second broad directive. We are going to adapt ASHRAE investments to energize chapters and engage members. This also has 3 initiatives with it. Number 1, we are going to create a chapter opportunity fund, and we have done that. We have got that done. What we did is we sent a check to the 14 directors and regional chairs. We just sent them a check and said, there's money, energize your chapters, engage your members. And so this is a ground-up, grassroots efforts. We put no restrictions on the money at all. Your director and regional chair, Farouk Mahbub, has put together a program, has asked input. Now, here's another reason why it's so great to be a chapter. Bjarne Olesen from Denmark, who will replace me in a couple of months, has already announced that he thinks this is a great program, he's going to continue it. And now that you're a chapter, you'll be eligible for those kind of funds. And so I encourage you to start thinking about what can you do here in CYPRUS that would energize your chapter, engage your members, and apply for that money. There's been some I think, some amazing things done with the money that we sent out. The one on the screen I thought was particularly interesting. Here we had two regions, Region 8 and Region 12, come together. Both of them have chapters outside North America. And what they said they do, they said, look, let's take both checks and put it in a pool. Then we have a big, much bigger pot. And what we're going to do is we're going to develop and run a chapter operations training seminar. And we're going to bring in all of our officers, our presidents, president-elects, from our chapters in South America, Central America, Mexico, the Caribbean. And we're going to train all of those officers on how to run a chapter, on how to become more involved at the society level, on how to energize members. I thought it was and by the way, they already had the training. They chose to run it in Cartagena, Colombia, and it turned out to be a tremendous success. So my hat's off to them. Here's the other one that I thought was really interesting. And this comes from my home region, Region 9. One of our smallest chapters, Ozarks, and I'll tell you, Ozarks is one of the smallest chapters in all of ASHRAE. And they partnered up with the Mechanical Contractors Association of Greater Springfield and said, hey, let's pool our money. Then we have a nice big pot of money here. And they went and built an HVAC laboratory at one of the local universities for their students. Oh, what a great idea to energize chapter. What a great idea to bring those young men and women into our society by showing them how our systems can work in a hands-on application. Here's initiative number 2. We promised a leadership academy, and we have delivered on that promise. Thanks to Members Council, this has gotten done as well. We had our first leadership conference on April 8th, so just a few weeks ago in Atlanta, Georgia. Here, what we did is we brought all of the rising stars from our chapters around the world and put them in a room at the same time so they could network and share best practices. Then we had these 3 instructors here, Devin Avalon, Chris Mathis, and Rachel Romero, help them hone their management and leadership skills. Okay, this is the future of our society. And I should tell you, I was hoping that we'd get 30, 35 people at this. On the first one, we actually got 63, 23 of which came from outside North America, 6 of which came from your region. So I think that showed me there's a real thirst for this kind of leadership training. And so, again, my hat's off to the folks on Members Council that made that happen so quickly. And then number 3, we are going to adapt ASHRAE's powerful energy management tool, Building EQ, and we're going to adapt it for our student branches around the world. And so here again is a win-win situation. We are going to show our student branch members through this online course how to do energy audits, how to do building benchmarking and disclosure, how to use ASHRAE's Building EQ, building labeling system, to help lower energy costs for an owner of a building. Now, second part of this is we're asking the student branch members to target buildings that give back to the community. So that might be a building on campus, that might be a food bank, it might be a homeless shelter, anything that gives back to the community. Students can then show that building owner how to lower their energy costs with our energy management tool. That, of course, gives the building owner more money that they can use to discharge their mission and thereby make our community stronger. It's a great example how ASHRAE technology can make a difference in our communities. This was assigned to a presidential ad hoc committee. They are nearing completion. I expect to have this course available worldwide in the next 30 days. And by the way, we are giving that to the universities and our student branches for free. Okay, so it's all the lectures, all the quizzes, reading assignments, everything the university would want to run a 3-credit-hour university class. I think this is going to be a tremendous boon throughout our organization. In conjunction with this, another example of how we made the room bigger, we signed a memorandum of understanding with APA. APA is an organization that represents facility managers on higher education campuses. They are a global organization as well. So they got so excited about this last initiative that they decided to partner with us on it. And so they are having their membership, who are facility managers, that have student branches on their campuses. They'll work with them on that student, on the building EQ project. And so our students are going to get the opportunity to work with practicing professionals from ASHRAE and facility managers all at the same time. Another great example of how we're making the room bigger. Now, all of these initiatives that I've shown you are brand new for us. These are things we have not done before. And anytime you do something new or different, it can be a little scary, right? It can be a little intimidating. I learned that lesson working construction. Again, I came from a very small, family-owned mechanical contracting firm. In our family, when you turned maybe 12 or 13, you got to work weekends, and you got to work summers at the shop. So I was sweeping out the warehouse, or I was sorting fittings. Then when I turned 16, I could go out on my first project. And so when I turned 16, I went out on a commercial project. We did larger commercial work, so mostly hospitals and the like. And I showed up for my first job as an apprentice pipe cover. That's what I did. I was an apprentice. And I showed up at this commercial project, and the foreman, and these foremen, you know, this has been late 60s, so these gentlemen were all World War II vets, and they were pretty darn tough, right? So I showed up, foreman comes up to me, points at me, says, "Wentz, you have 2 major flaws." Actually, I think he said, "You have at least 2 major flaws. Number 1, you're an apprentice. Number 2, you're the boss's son." I found out that was a really bad combination. Well, he soon found out I had a 3rd major flaw. I do not like heights. I do not like heights at all. There are those in ASHRAE that would tell you that's why I'm no taller than I am. I don't want to be any further from the floor than I am right now. So for those of you that have worked construction, you know how this story is going to go, right? As soon as the crew found out I didn't like heights, well, every job with a ladder or a scaffold had my name on it. That's right. One day the foreman comes running up to me. That foreman was always running. I don't understand. Anyway, he ran up to me. He says, "Wentz, over there is a built-up air handling unit, and on top of that built-up air handling unit is some piping that needs your attention." Well, he was pointing at a really big built-up air handling unit. This thing was like 3 meters tall. And leaned up against it was this 2-meter ladder. Now, I'm looking at that. As I turned to the foreman, I said, "How's that going to work? How am I going to get on top of that thing with that little bitty ladder?" And he said, "Oh, Wentz, stop whining. There's a conduit that runs along the top. Just get yourself to the top of the ladder, grab the conduit, pull yourself up, get to work. Now, no more excuses, get going." So I looked at that again. I said, "Now, wait just a second. I see how I get up, but I don't see any way down. I won't be able to see where I'm going." And he said, "Oh, Wentz, stop crying. All you have to do is turn yourself around, grab the same conduit, and back yourself down. I'll be there for you. I'll guide your feet to the top of the ladder." Now that's the last excuse I want to hear. I want you up there and to work. So up I went, got my work done, came back. You want to know that I looked to make sure I had a ladder and a foreman. I was very important to me at that point in time. And so I grabbed the conduit and started to back myself down. Well, just after I got past the point of no return, I saw one of the journeymen walking off with my ladder. And so I screamed at him, "That's my ladder. You bring my ladder back here." I'm sanitizing what I really said to him. That was the gist of it. And he just smiled and waved and walked off with my ladder. So now I'm screaming at the foreman, "That guy stole my ladder. Now what am I going to do?" And the foreman goes, "Oh, Wentz, stop being so dramatic. It's not that far to the floor. And by the way, I've moved most of the pipe and fittings out of the way." Well, what could I do with that? I mean, there wasn't anything to do. I just hung there. And I hung there as long as I possibly could. And of course, eventually, you just couldn't hang there any longer. And I fell. About 1 inch onto another ladder he had cleverly put underneath me. Oh, the crew loved that. Well, the crew laughed about that for weeks, if not months. But aren't we all like that? Don't we all want to hang on to things that are safe and comfortable as long as we can? So, how do we create a future for our society where it's okay to let go and adapt? And that takes us to our third broad directive. We're going to adapt ASHRAE technology to provide an immediate direct benefit for our members and for our society. This also has 3 initiatives. Initiative number 1, we're going to create a technology portal. And in fact, it's done. Much thanks there to the Electronics Communication Committee that got that done so quickly. But now this is online, it's up and running. You can go to this technology portal, and you will now have access to ASHRAE's research output. And by the way, ASHRAE, and you may not know this, ASHRAE, since 1959, has invested $150 million, US dollars, in research just for us. So, how do you get access to the fruits of that research? It's going to be through this technology portal. And I was in Seattle, Washington not too long ago. And in fact, it was right after Las Vegas when we launched this. And I had an engineer come up to me. He said, "Say, I found your technology portal. Boy, it really works slick." He said, "I was out on a job and he had a problem with the hot water reset." He said, "I was having trouble trying to figure out what the problem even was." He said, "I went to your technology portal. It's got its own search engine, put in hot water reset." And he said, just like that, I had 3 journal articles and a paper on hot water reset. He said, I only had to read the first article, journal article, to figure out what my problem was. And that's exactly what this is supposed to do. This is supposed to put cutting-edge information right at your fingertips when you need it. So I think this will be a very powerful benefit. Here's initiative number 2. We're going to develop application guides to show you how to apply our technology. Now, these are not going to be, great big thick books. They're not going to be written in code language. They're not going to be written in standards language. These are going to be written by practicing professionals for practicing professionals. This is how we're going to show you how to apply ASHRAE technology on an everyday basis so that you can be as efficient as possible. We have 3 of them ready to publish, so they'll be out in the next 30 to 60 days. We intend to have a whole library of these available for you. These first 3 should be out by June of this year. And then finally, initiative number 3. We're going to expand, and I must say greatly expand, our app portfolio. We think this is what our members need in order to apply ASHRAE technology. So we've assigned this to the Publications Committee, and they have already produced 2 brand new apps. I announced them in Las Vegas. One app is on superheat calculations. Second app is on ASHRAE's weather database. And again, we're planning on having an entire library of these apps. Some will be designed for your cell phone, some will be designed for a tablet, some for a desktop or a laptop. So there'll be a whole spectrum of apps available to you. This is how we're going to help you be as effective and as efficient and as productive as we can possibly help you be. So that's how we're going to create a future for our society where it's okay to let go and adapt. Now the question is, what can you do? Well, you can do a lot. You can hire an intern. You can make a commitment to be more active in the CYPRUS chapter. You can resolve to apply ASHRAE technology to make your community stronger. There's a lot of things you can do to make this real. We can do it. But in order to do it, we are going to have to unlock the power of adaptation. It isn't any different than me and my slide board, right? This was an important part of my life in 1971. But I realized the greater risk was in not putting that technology down and picking up that newfangled hand calculator. That was true for me as an individual. It's true for us as a society. The greatest risk we face is our resistance to change. That's why we must adapt today to shape tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.